Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, it's 6:01, and I'm going to do one other thing here.
Ganesha, yes. I was just listening to him.
You were?
Yes, that song. I don't know the name of the artist. I think it's Porangui or Portangi. But he's amazing. And Alona had this song playing one time. It was a Ganesha chant. And I was like, I need the name of the song right now. And Alona, I haven't stopped listening to it, molesting it every day.
Love it. Love that you're molesting it.
Yes.
Post it.
My
Post
favorite.
it on Spotify.
Okay, I will.
Yeah. There's a couple I love that are Ganesha. I wonder if it's one of the same. I wouldn't know it until I hear it, then we'll have to look.
Right.
But, yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
Evie. Evie's here too. Her name is Chandra Ganesh. She went to a temple and stuff and they gave it to her. So
That's so awesome. I actually met a guy named Ganesh, like that was actually his birth name. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I want your autograph. Like, that's weird. It was the randomest thing. Anyways, yeah. Okay, that's my random story. Cool. So, welcome to our Yoga Shoot the Shit. So, before we get started, basically, like, just to give you an idea, and please be 100% honest and truthful or whatever. And anyway, so we're going to post this. The full plan was for this to actually be live on the Yoga Here Facebook page. But I've tried it 3 times, and each time my computer crashes. And so obviously I don't want that to happen in this call. So what the full picture is we're going to post this onto the Yoga Here Facebook page, as well as YouTube. So I have a YouTube channel, Danny has a YouTube channel, anyone else who wants one or wherever it ends up going. So if that's not okay with you, please let me know, like full disclosure right off, like, and I believe when we repost this, the recording, the names are gone. Okay, so if that's something that's important to you, I believe the names are gone. And if they're not, we will do whatever we can to remove the names. And if you don't want your face, you can do your video off and we can just hear you. Like, that's always an option. So I just wanted to put that out there before we do get started, that your face is going to go on Facebook as well as YouTube. Is that all right with everybody? Yeah? Okay, cool. So what I would like to do is actually just start with a grounding exercise. So we'll just do like a little meditation, a little breath work. Nothing too crazy, just to kind of, it's actually more for me. So that I can kind of pull my head and my thoughts together. I always start crossing like child's pose or somewhere that no one's looking at me. So this is a whole different direction in that. So find a comfortable seat, whether you're on your couch, on your chair, whatever it is, on the floor, anywhere that you are. Just kind of like wiggle around a little bit and really feel your bum connected to whatever it is. And then you can take your hands to your knees, just roll your shoulders a little bit, and then just feel in your own body, right? We're in our body all day long, but sometimes we forget to kind of feel what that feels like. Take a deep inhale, and then just exhale, like out your mouth, sigh it out. And then feel the breath actually leave the body. Let's do it one more time together. Inhale. Exhale. Notice your shoulders soften, and the whole body just kind of relaxes into place. So we'll just take about 3 or 4 breaths. And this might be a great first question. What are we doing? Has anyone seen that meme? There's a whole bunch of cupcakes, right? And the one cupcake is leading the other cupcakes in a yoga practice. And then you have a donut. And the yoga teacher says, find your center. That's really one of my favorite ones, because a donut's just like, hey. So that's really what we're doing right now, is trying to become more like a cupcake and less like a donut. Really just becoming aware of who we are, where we are, what we're doing. Really turning the gaze inward. So letting go of everything that's going on around, be in your room, outside the room, out your house, any thoughts that are happening, we're just slowing them all down. Let's take 3 more breaths together. Inhale fully through the nose, slow and controlled. Nice full breath, feel your lungs expand, the whole body starts to really become tall and big in this inhale. And then as you open your mouth, sighing it out, feel the body become heavy. 2 more just like that. Inhale fully. Open mouth, exhale. Last one, inhale. And exhale. By now your mind might be on the beach or in the forest or in your own quiet, private little place. And that's exactly where we're looking for it to go. Awesome. Gently open your eyes. Cool. So welcome to Yoga Here, Shoot the Shit. Yeah. So we really have no rules. We have no formal way of doing this. So I would love to hear I guess just questions. Who's got a question? Who wants to start? Yeah.
How about we introduce ourselves?
I think that's a great idea. I was going to, and then I saw Angelica unmuted herself, and I thought she had a question. So we'll yes. Okay. So we'll introduce ourselves. That's a great idea. If you can hang on to that question for just a moment. Alona, who are you?
Who am I? So I'm Donna Deviananda. I am a certified yoga teacher, and I'm originally from Poland. So the accent is right from there. And what can I say today about myself? I became a teacher a little bit over a year ago, and it was the best decision I ever made. It was life-changing transformation. I was a Buddhist before that, so that was a beautiful combination. Everything clicked, and it's definitely my way of life. So I am grateful and always will be for the wisdom, for the teachers, for friends, for the community. It's absolutely a blessing for me. So thank you for being here, for talking about yoga, for practicing yoga, for sharing energy, for believing in energy. So namaste.
Awesome. And Danny.
Okay, my name is Danny. Hi. Okay, who am I? I'm a Jedi. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a newbie yoga teacher. I've been practicing yoga for about 1.5 years seriously, when I was like, oh my God, this is the move. This is what I have to do. And then I just got I just started teaching in, I don't know, maybe 3 months ago. But it's been really fun. It's such an honor to be able to teach yoga. It's a great honor to take yoga, but it's also a really cool honor to lead and to guide in the yoga practice as well. So it's really amazing to experience being the student and the teacher in the same moment and pose. It's a really cool thing that I'm experiencing just being a new teacher. So I'm here. I love to talk about spirituality and philosophy. I love to learn from these two. These two are my yoga gurus. So I'm excited to be here. And hi, you guys. Thank you for coming. It's so cool to see your curious little enlightened faces here with me. So I'm so excited that you're here to soak this up.
Yay. That's awesome. Hey guys, I am Janet Lynn. So I started yoga here about 5 years ago on a beach in South Africa. I was there illegally and I needed to eat, and I thought I had just finished my teacher training, and I was like, all right, beach, here we are, right? That's what we're doing. So I was a runner first. I thought yoga was for tree huggers. I did my thing. I drank the Kool-Aid, and I am the world's second, now next to Danny, biggest tree hugger. So please be warned that potentially yoga can change your thought pattern. It can change a lot in your life. So that's a good thing, right? But I feel like sometimes it needs a little like label. Yoga is addicting in a really good way. Yeah, fast forward to present day. Here we are. Yoga here kind of took a nap for a while. I'm in the States, and I needed a way to practice and connect with people through this whole stuff that we're going through right now. And Danny and I had developed a relationship, and we kind of thought, well, hey, let's do it. So here we are. Everything has evolved. Alona's idea was to do this like yoga talk, and it was really awesome. And I am so honored and like excited to bring this to you with two like really amazing women. And I don't know, like, yeah, that's me. So thank you all for being here. It really does mean a lot. This has been a little child of mine that's just like ready to go now. So yeah. So that's us. Welcome. So Angelica, what you got for us?
Okay, so I have an easy question and more of a complicated one. I'm not sure if you know it. So my first one is when you're in the downward dog position and then you like lift your leg up and then do a lunge. I don't know if I have short arms or I just can't get my foot to go in between my hands. You like lift your arm to go like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or do you like have to like push your chest up higher to get it really between your arms?
Yeah. So who's going? Who's taking this one? Alona.
So yes, definitely. First, I think that the best way to check if your downward facing dog is in the right alignment, go into high plank, and then from high plank, go into downward facing dog. And exactly that will give you the distance from your hands to your feet. And also try to work with blocks. So exactly that, pushing your shoulders, those little muscles here, just pushing them, keeping your spine straight, and it will come. Yes. At the beginning, you can round a little bit of your spine to get there, but try to push more and extend your spine more.
Okay, because I always have a hard time just keeping both my hands positioned and then getting my foot under my chest. And then my second one is like, I really want to understand like the whole like purpose of yoga. So is it just like breathing? Like, do you know more of the history about it? I don't know if that's a hard question.
It's yeah, we're diving into it. This is juicy. And look, like
this is
so
juicy.
We got three teachers. And now I'm like, oh, let me. We're all like insing at the bit. Okay, I'm gonna pop into the down dog thing quickly. So when I first started practicing, I thought that it would be fun to try the hop thing, even though I also couldn't get my foot in between my hands. I have long legs, right? Like short arms, long legs. I don't know. Yeah, so the one foot caught and I did a nosedive in the whole cross on my mat, and it was like, whoo, okay, like I caught myself, but you know, it was a thing. So for me, a lot of it is hamstring length, because you really have to lift your hips up. And that second foot, the finger that comes with the second foot, it still lifts a little bit. And it's really a pelvis tilt idea, right? So we're pulling in the core, rounding through the spine, and it's a lot of pelvis anterior forward, anterior tilt to get your leg that way. So yes, there's a bit of shoulders. And
there it is.
Yes, there it is.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna do that, but I didn't leave myself.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then the other one, that is a really, really big question, and we're all so chomping at the bit. Yeah, should we just start with like the background? Go for it, Danny.
Me?
Yeah, let's hear. So this is what I love about this, is all three of us are going to give you slightly different answers.
Right.
And it becomes super fun because there is no right or wrong answer. Like, you know what I mean? So I love to hear what everyone's stuff is.
Okay, so the background of yoga I am not super familiar with. I know there's a dude or a group of dudes called Patanjali, and they maybe wrote the Yoga Sutras. That might even be wrong, but I'm not even sure. It's part of my PT, right? And I think, was that way off?
No, you're not way off. Slightly, but not way.
I'm just gonna look at where it is. That's all I got. But okay, so the purpose of yoga, that one I do kind of want to answer. Okay, so I mean, yoga means to yoke, so to unite things. And at first, when I first started practicing yoga, I was like, okay, so it's uniting my breath and my body through like the movement of the practice. But then as I started getting more into yoga and doing a little bit more research through my teacher training, I felt like yoga was uniting you to the present moment. So it's uniting your breath and your body to the present moment. So that's also a uniting. And there's also a sort of uniting that happens with yoga where you understand the oneness, so you're being united with everything, and you start to think differently about the world around you. And so it's uniting your breath and your body to the present moment, and then you to all things. So it's like everything. Yoga is all.
Right. So when you're saying like deepening into your like pose and stuff like that, I like that. Okay.
Yeah, and when you deepen into your pose, that's like getting deeper into your body, getting deeper into your breath, and maybe opening up and creating more space. Mm-hmm. And I love this saying I heard one time. It was like, a flexible body without a flexible mind is not yoga. And I just thought that was beautiful, because yoga is an internal practice, not like one. So there's 8 limbs of yoga. Only one is physical. All the other are not. So it's an internal thing too.
And stay tuned, because as like that question is so incredibly awesome, and it's so incredibly big, and there's so many different ways into it, that actually answering that is the whole purpose, and we're doing all of this.
Right.
So stay tuned. You'll learn different things as they come through. So yeah, no, but what a great way to like kick it all off. I love it. Alona, do you have anything to add?
So yes, Danny was right. There were it was a really long time ago, thousands of years ago, Yoga Sutras were written, and probably they were written by many great yogi masters. They were put together, so all the wisdom we have from there. And just as Danny said, it's not only about the posture, which is one of the 8 limbs. And I always tell my students that what we do in a class is basically a training to do it outside of the mat. So whatever it is, if it's your posture, number 1, it's breath, right? Number 2 is posture. Then it's the control of the mind, because a lot of people tend to think that we are the mind, and the mind is actually just a tool, just a machine that we use. But if we use it improperly, it actually takes control over us. So with breath and with control over the body, over the mind, we get connected. We get to understand more subtle world around us. We are getting quiet, we're getting slower, but it's actually expand everything. So it's much more, and with the practice you get to get better in every single level. You really understand who you are, why you're here, and you have the purpose, and you're simply, it's yoga. I always say yoga is not about being good at anything. It's being as you are and simply do your best. So this exactly the subject is never ending. It's so inspiring, and there's so much, and you always learn. The thing about yoga, the thing about Buddhism is that the teaching is forever, and it's never ending. You always improving. Doesn't matter how many years you've been practicing, doesn't matter how many years you've been studying, you can always go further and further and learn and teach. It's every student is a teacher's teacher. It's not only that we go to the class and we are teachers. It's never like that. We always go into the class and all of the students automatically, they are our teacher.
Yeah.
So,
That's beautiful.
So to kind of make that a little bit shorter and more direct, because again, this could be like, I mean, hopefully years of conversation, but the physical practice of yoga, what we know as yoga on our mat in the gyms and in the studios, and the physical practice and why we're actually moving our body, was designed for, I don't know, 5, 7, 9, however, a long time ago, for 18-year-old Indian boys to burn off energy so that they could sit properly in meditation. So yoga, the physical practice of yoga is actually designed to restack your body in a certain way so that you can sit in meditation with stillness. So that's the physical part of it. Like, we can go deep forever and this can go, but the reason that we do the practice on our mat originally, and that's why you'll find different like posture changes based on different teachers.
Right.
Because, are you hearing me okay, or is there a little bit of feedback? If I can mute people.
I can hear you.
Okay. So I forgot what I was going to say. But the reason that we do the actual, because we're not 18-year-old Indian boys anymore. Like, nobody's body is that way. So it has been tweaked and changed over the years to adapt to, like, that's why you'll hear different teachers cue things slightly differently. And if you never know which one's right, they're all right or they're all wrong for you. Like, there is not. So just keep that in mind as we go along. But that was why the physical yoga that we do today in our communities and that you see out and about, that's where that comes from.
Oh, okay.
It's actually called it's a city in India called Mysore. And that goes even farther and even deeper. There's a specific practice and order and very structured. But just to kind of give a quick background, that's really where it comes from.
Perfect.
Yes, so I can add that you can do magic with your body on your mat, especially with practice. But the goal actually is to find one posture, your own posture, where you can stand still and you can own it. So it's never, yoga is not about competition. It's never, every time in a class we tell students, this is not the place to compare yourself to anybody else. This is not the place to judge anybody, and especially do not judge yourself, because this is completely different state of mind. It's a completely different state of a workout. So one posture, if you get one posture, Sukhasana, this is it. You will get all other limbs of yoga. Yes.
That's beautiful, because like I would always look at yogis and think, wow, I can never do that. Like, I don't know how to do the splits. I'm not that flexible. So that's definitely better outlook.
Yeah. Awesome. Great questions to start off with. I love it.
I have something. So something I forgot to add was what yoga gave, the purpose of yoga for me is it gave me like a path to walk. When I quit bodybuilding, I was like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what's right. I don't know what to eat. And yoga teaches me so many things about the way to treat other people, the way to treat myself, the way to sit in meditation, the way to use my breath. So it gives me this way and this path to walk, to exist here.
I love that. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Who's next? Sydney, what you got?
I'm going to talk for a second. So I know I have like sorry if there's noise in the background, but I like have a lot of questions, but the one that like just popped in my head is my sister actually, I've been trying to get her to come on to our classes, but she has a little bit of anxiety. So I think it was Monday. I invited her to the Monday morning one, and Sunday night she just like didn't sleep because she was so anxious about it. So she's like, I'm not going to be able to do it because I'm too anxious. But she's been doing like YouTube video yoga because she's like really wanting to do it. But she has very bad allergies and like lots of sinus pressure. And so when she's laying flat in Shavasana, she gets like she's like, my head feels like it's going to explode. And I told her that I know for me, like the first couple of classes I did, I kind of felt like tension when I did that, but it got better the more I did it. So does she just need to like stick it out, or is that like a thing? I don't know.
So I'm looking, I've got you on two screens because my phone is quite small, so bear with me while I look to the side. I'm not cheating. I'm looking at the whole group.
That's okay.
So I know that there are some really good poses that help with allergies. Are they like seasonal allergies or like permanent allergies?
She
like
has like really bad seasonal allergies, but she was actually in the middle of doing allergy therapy when the whole quarantine hit, because she went and did allergy testing and found out she's allergic to pretty much everything, like her dogs, like all like fruits and vegetables. She's allergic to like a ton. So she was in the middle of doing therapy for that, where she'd go get allergy shots, but obviously she hasn't been able to do that. So, but like she has both.
Yeah. I would, I mean, if she's getting like lying on her back with her head low, just have her grab a pillow for Shavasana so that her head's not low. Obviously don't want to put her in any point of like too much pain or something that's not all right. But moving your body, and yoga has been known to, I'm just going to say it, yoga has been known to greatly improve things like allergies, improve in the good way, right? Like reduce allergies and greatly improve overall health. So there are definitely like any inversions or anything like that to completely avoid, but spinal twists, even seated spinal twists, just to kind of clean up that whole spinal column, and a lot of forward folds if she can, because typically allergies are stemmed from our gut health, which is quite weird to think about, but a lot of forward folds and like just massaging your intestines and that sort of thing might be helpful. I definitely can see why that would be a little bit anxious for her, because we're not there. We're just going to go. And this is a platform that makes that a little bit more difficult. But maybe seeking out like semi-private classes, or like just having conversation, like what are the best, rather than a yoga class, right, where we have a start, we flow, we move, blah, da, 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 da. There might be certain poses that we can put together so that she does this for a minute or two, and then she does that for a minute or two, and see if that helps at all or does anything. The other thing is that to try it, and if it's not really working, the best thing, like, you know, we were saying what yoga really is that mind-body connection. And she can sit during the whole class and just be present. She can be in child's pose in the whole class. In fact, I really invite all of my students to spend at least one of my classes in child's pose. Like, don't practice, just stay there. Like, try it, good luck. That's hard. So those are always options for her as well. And especially this format makes it super easy to do because you're not disturbing anyone else, just to kind of sit and be comfortable and just observe the class and how it flows. It's always like a really awesome way to start.
I'll definitely talk to her about that, because I think if she, like, after she tried it, I think she would really enjoy it. Because I told her, I was like, there's zero judgment. Like, I never feel pressured to like be good at yoga in these classes. So, but yeah, and then that was what she was wondering, is how much like modification, like if she were to put a pillow under her head for Shavasana, like, is that okay? But that kind of, the question before kind of answered that, of like, yoga's like your posture, like finding your posture. I love that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
What I would add, for me, the game changer for allergies was neti practice. It's the neti pad that you clear your airways, and it's a blessing for sinus. So definitely tell her to try that, doing that every single day. That is really, it's cooling, and um, any inflammation, any problem, it should at least lessen it. And like you said, this is her practice. The practice is about you. It's about every single body to find their own flow, their own breath, their own posture. So if it will help her, definitely let. And like Janet said, she doesn't have to do it. She can stop and hold a posture, different posture. She can sit and meditate. The most important thing is that she's there. She is breathing. She's concentrating on her breath, and she's concentrating on posture, whatever it is. If it's Shavasana, if it's Sukhasana, whatever it is, just this is it. That's yoga, because it's not only about working the muscles. It's working about the strength of just being so focused, so concentrated, and keeping that spine straight, keeping your best posture as long as you want, as long as you can.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know that wasn't really about me, but she was asking me that the other day. So
she's going to be so thankful. So the purpose of Shavasana is to get quiet, find silence, find stillness, let all the benefits sink in. So she could still find that same thing in like a crisscross pose, like a meditative thing, but I would have her sit on a block or a meditation cushion so she can sit there kind of comfortably without her back hurting or something. So I wonder, and like maybe this is kind of a question for you guys, like, is it okay to take a meditative posture instead of Shavasana? Do you still get the same benefits?
I would say, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, especially supported. I usually sit with my back against the wall. Like you guys have seen now, I just changed my seat because I can't sit still doing hips and stuff. So yeah, anything that you can, for me at least, and I'm fairly new to meditating, right? And that's kind of what that Shavasana is. It's that preparation. Shavasana is your peak pose, right? You've got all your energy out, you're moving, and the Shavasana is where it all kind of starts to settle in. And if you're uncomfortable and you're fidgeting and you're twitching and you're doing this and you're trying to get comfortable, then you're going to lose the benefit of that posture. But if you can find a space in which you're comfortable in, then, you know, then you're going to be in that posture and be able to go within and be in that meditative state. So that would be my answer.
Yeah, set her up.
Yeah, pick a space that's comfy.
perfect.
Right.
Thanks.
I would avoid like a twist or something, or, you know, some people kind of curl up. I would still try to keep as much length in your spine and in your body, just so that you have that good, like, beautiful flow of prana moving through. But aside from that, yeah, that would be my answer.
Perfect. And then also,
Yeah.
for me, and I think my sister kind of has some issues with this too. We both, when we were younger, had like lower back injuries, like not horrible, but I one time jumped up and then fell on my tailbone on concrete. And when I'm in Shavasana, I feel it in my lower back, and then getting up is like a nightmare for me. I have to go so slow. Should I take like precautions for that? Because like after I sit up, it's fine. And like through my entire practice, I don't feel it, but it's when I lay down flat and then try to sit up, it's like, oh my gosh, my lower back is horrible.
Yeah. Anyone?
So have you tried putting a little blanket, not too high, but even sometimes the black is good, and putting on your lower back, and that's actually releases that tension. Or maybe even for me, I do have a lot of lower back issues, and what you said, I think it happened too much, to so many people, hitting your tailbone, and it's really, really, it can bother you until the rest of your life. But just elevating it a little bit, elevating it, and giving that release. And also whenever when you practice, I think just cats and cows, just making that area actually movable, and stretching it and warming it up. So just try to also, whenever you feel it, try to stay for a moment with it and breathe with it, like really deep inhales, exhales, and feel what is happening and what kind of moves make that. If you start concentrating on it, then with yoga, what you do, you actually learning all your injuries and how you can work around those injuries, so you can actually function 100%, but on your way, right? So your movement might look like my movement, but inside you're doing your own thing, because you have that injury where you simply working around it.
Yeah, that helps. I'll definitely try that with the like blanket or something underneath it. Not, yeah, like that, Danny.
So the other thing is, Danny, and it depends, stay where you are because I'm going to use you now. It depends. So tailbone and lower back, I'm not really comfortable. I'm not fully aware of the connection, to be fully honest with you. If you're feeling in your tailbone or if your lower back is supporting so that you don't. But one thing you can do in the lower back tension is if you bend your knees and then bring your feet as wide as the mat and knock your knees together. So that'll take the pressure out of your lower back. So your Shavasana can look something more like that. And then just to make sure, so I wouldn't do that. So if you imagine so that is going to pinch your lower back. Yeah. If you take your femurs and make them parallel, right? And say the tips of my fingers is your knee and my the ball of my hand is your hips, and you pull the knees together, the hips separate, right? But if you pull the knees apart, you see what happens, the hips come together. And that pinch of the hips becomes a tension spot in the lower back, and the pelvis tilts. And now we have a nice little arch in the lower back. So probably you could slip your hand underneath that mat. And if you are really struggling in lower back tension, that's not going to feel super nice. So what you want to do is actually tilt your pelvis the other way so that the navel goes down towards the floor and flatten your back. But again, tailbone versus lower back. I know very much about tight hips, lower back, and like soft core lower back. Tailbone and lower back, I'm not sure. So I would try a few things and see that works. Good night.
What if you put up under your knees?
You can do up under your knees as well. So if you have a towel rolled up, that will definitely help keep your lower back planted. But if you don't have anything handy, the other one would be bringing the knees together.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. I love the yoga model.
Right, you're already down there. Might as well.
We should demonstrate Shavasana at the end.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go to sleep.
Right.
Oh, by the way, guys, this is a meditation cushion. It's amazing. It like elevates your hips. You can also sit on a yoga block. I'll show you. So it elevates your hips. So you can sit crisscross kind of, and then have your spine stacked right over. I used to have the hardest time sitting on the floor. My lower back would just like seize up, and it was just the hardest thing for me to do because my glutes and my hamstrings were so tight that I couldn't even meditate. I'm like, this is literally the most painful thing. So this thing is really cool because it allows your hips to be open, and then you can sit here. Now after like 25 minutes, one of my legs falls asleep. So I think I just have to, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a leg's ever fallen off because it's fallen asleep from meditating.
No, it felt like it.
One of those things. Awesome. What's next?
You guys both have Ganesh shirts on. Twin.
Oh, is it? Well, mine's like, that's for Ganesha. He's got both his tusks, so I think he's just Indian elephant, but I thought something a little yogic. Plus, I haven't done laundry in a while, so.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you describe Ganesh?
As the best thing in the whole entire world. So in order to graduate, which I actually didn't, I did graduate, but I didn't pass with very good colors. But in order to graduate my yoga teacher training, we all got assigned a god, and we had to like explain him. And mine was Ganesha, and I was like, thank you very much, because that was exactly what I needed. So, Alona, you'd probably be a lot better at this than I would. But my favorite story, like Ganesha I love because he's like just goofy. Like he's just a big goofy like thing. Like I don't feel like he takes life super seriously. And so my favorite story is about the moon. Do you know this one, Danny?
No, I just know he's the elephant.
Oh my God.
That's all I know.
So this is my favorite story of Ganesha, is that, so Ganesha's this big elephant, right? And he's super fat, has this nice big Buddha belly. And so one day he was at I think it was his birthday party, if I remember correctly. And he had like these big cheese puffs, or specifically like some sweeties, that he was walking home and he was eating, and it was night. And the moon started laughing at him because it was just a mess. He was this big tubby elephant, and he was just shoving his mouth full of these sweeties. And the moon starts laughing at him, and Ganesh got really mad. He was like, don't laugh at me, that's really rude. So he threw a sweetie at the moon, and the moon like went away. He got pissed off and he left. And so like over time, like the crops started dying, the farmers were getting upset because the moon is gone, the light at night is gone. And so he says, okay, listen, you have to come back. And he's like, I'm not going to come back because you disrespected me and you didn't treat me well and whatever, and you have an anger issue or whatever. I can't remember the specifics. But the point is that he made a deal with the moon. He will come back full one time in the month for the harvest and for all of that. And then he will go away the one time in the month. So what I learned is Ganesha like initiated the seasonal moons that we have. And like, that's the deal between Ganesha and, I've got goosebumps, between Ganesha and the moon. So that's like, this is just my favorite story. There's like a lot of them from him, like what he represents and like how he thinks, but that's just one of my favorite stories.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, super fun. But Alona, do you have a
Well, to me, yes, I love all the stories and I love the representation. And to me, I always see all the deities as an energy. And every single deity, every single god, goddess, they simply is a channel for certain energy that you need at this moment. So for me personally, Ganesha energy is the energy actually that opens you the door. That's the first deity, that first energy that you feel, that you face when you want to get into that spiritual world, right? Because Ganesha is the remover of obstacles. So for me, whenever that was the introduction to energy of Kali, to energy of Hanuman. But Ganesha for me was this energy which I meditate with whenever I have an obstacle and I cannot understand or I cannot absorb it or whatever is on my way. So I do see it as that. Simply there is an obstacle. I need energy to be translucent, to get through that door, to get through that gate. So for me, Ganesha is the representation of the opener of that gate, opener of remover of the obstacle and giving you open door to whatever you need at this moment. So I love Ganesha. Gamgana Pataye Namaha.
Oh yes, we should do that.
Mm-hmm. I like him because I feel like he puts things in my path. Like I am like a gung-ho, give me the door, it's flying open, and I'm like gone. Like that's me. And so I feel like he's like, nah, you need a lesson first. Ugh. So though I like, it's almost one of those like, darn it. But like, you know, when you get to the other side of that lesson, you're like, oh, that was wonderful. Now I'm like flying again. He's like, stop. So he does move things out, but he also moves them in the path, right? That's my, yeah. But, and Danny?
I don't know a ton about Ganesh. He was kind of my first, I was always wondering who this elephant was. And I feel like it was just recently that I really got turned on to him. And I first learned the chant like right before my teacher training, and I did it like every single day. And this was the first time in my life that I like would say the chant actually like out loud, and I wasn't worried about what it sounded like. And I found this really beautiful one to do with my mala, and she says it 108 times. And that was the first time that I understood how to use a mala and how to use a chant, and who Ganesh was, and that he was sort of like the mover of energy. Like he's like an elephant, so he like traipses through the forest and like clears the way, or he could put obstacles in your way, but he's kind of like that mover of energy. And I just remember listening and chanting, and I would listen to the song even when I was driving in my car. Like it was just, and then I found all these different artists who sing it, and I got really just I found a lot of like strength in the Ganesh chant. And I sometimes do it before like stuff like this. Like I was practicing yoga and listening to my favorite rendition of the chant. And I do it before I have things that I need a little bit of strength from. So I don't know a ton about him. I know one tusk is long, one is short for a reason. Buddha belly, he has a bunch of different hands that are all doing different things for a reason. But I can't tell you what they are.
His tusk. It was his tusk he threw at the moon. Thank you for reminding me that one.
Oh,
it was
okay.
His tusk that he threw at the moon. He broke off his tusk. Yeah, that's why he has one short one. And maybe we get like, maybe someone clarifies that. Like if there's comments that start falling below this after we post it, there might be clarification, but that's what I remember. It's been a long time. But no, I 100% like when I first started teaching, and I was like maybe not in good space, or like I had a moment in life that was really, really hard. But yeah, I would drive down the road and I would like crank his like, I still won't do it in front of people yet because I'm not really sure. My Sanskrit was learned from Afrikaans speaking people. So trying to learn a third language from a second language, I didn't really know anyways, and the accent was thick. So I'm nervous in my Sanskrit because it's probably not very well, but anyway, so yeah, I still don't chant it because I don't actually know what it says. Just kind of make up some noises and hope it's close. Yeah. Awesome. Ivy. Hi. I think that's the first time I've maybe seen your face. Usually it's just on the thing.
Oh,
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. I have bad connection, so I turn off the video, but I want to see you all just a little more.
Awesome. Did you have a question?
Well, it's related with to what you are sharing, and you know there are so many styles of yoga. So what is the difference between all these styles or names?
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah. Gosh. So that's kind of like the first one, and then it can be really, really big. Let's start at the surface, and that the stuff that you probably see, like, are you talking about like if you go to a yoga studio and you look at the schedule and there's like yoga flow, yoga power, yoga this,
yeah,
and that. I don't know that I'm the best one to answer that, to be honest. I honestly feel like yoga is yoga, and maybe some people make the class harder so that it's faster. Maybe some people want to like slow it down for like beginners, you know, would be the easy. But as far as like the power and the vinyasa flow, and those are, I think they're all kind of the same, at least from my experience. What really starts changing is yin yoga is a whole different practice. You have this hot 26, I think you're supposed to say. When we were in South Africa, we didn't have any like issues, so we could actually call it Bikram, but I think it's different here. But that hot class, that's the same order, I think you call it Hot 26 or something. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just hot yoga now. So those are very, very different practices, and we can dive deeper into that. But on the surface level, anything that's like a vinyasa flow, I honestly think is very close. What do you think? Am I off?
So I would add that when it comes to yoga, yes, there's of course there's hot yoga, there's fast yoga, there's slower yoga, but there's also a lot of different yoga. For example, bhakti yoga. It's bhakti yoga. It's what we do in our vinyasa classes, in our yin classes, is the connection of the breath with the body, either opening the body, stretching, restoring, strengthening. And the bhakti yoga, for example, is the yoga of the devotion. So yoga that connects you to your spirit, to the divine, to whatever it is, to the universe, right? So it's more concentrate on chanting and spreading and receiving good energy. There's karma yoga, which is the yoga of service, of action, of helping others, right? So in the West, whenever we hear yoga, it's automatically, oh, pretty bodies, stretchy on a mat. But it's not. It's not only. It's just one aspect of yoga. It's actually the asana yoga, right? The posture, the strengthening of the body, strengthening of the mind. And we always, at least we should, every teacher should concentrate on the breath. So there is so many. There's a Kundalini yoga. Kundalini yoga is more of a yoga that open certain channels, certain energies that you really, after 60 minutes of Kundalini yoga, when I first started practicing that, I was absolutely amazed because the energy that you produces, it's so much of it that you can feel it in your fingers, in every single part of your body, that for the first time I was literally so amazed that I thought, I was thinking that last time I felt that when I was a kid, and it was absolutely amazing. I was looking at my hands, it's like, really, is this happening? When am I feeling this? So there's so many, and I invite you to try them all. If you have a chance, do it, and watch a video, go to the class, go to the studio. It's amazing, and there's more than just mat and more than just asana.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Denny?
Well, so I think, as I understand it, there's many different types, and I feel like that just keeps unfolding like a lotus, just how many types there are. But there's power, which is sort of like your vinyasa classes. Vinyasa means one breath, one movement, and to me that's like, that's the same as like hatha yoga and ashtanga, although it's kind of, it's like the same sequence every time. That's kind of more of a power, like a strength practice, versus like yin being kind of slow, juicy, really restorative, like that. And Kundalini seems, when I did it, there was a lot of breath practice with it. It was very like sort of internal and things like that. So yeah.
So what you'll typically see on a yoga, like a studio schedule, right? What you'll typically see on a studio schedule would be like a power or vinyasa class. You might see a yin class. So yin is a very supportive, restorative, well, there's restorative, it's just a farther version, but it's stillness. It's using gravity, it's using time, it's using the idea of letting go of trying to stretch. And by doing that, there's a lot of physical around that. That's a whole nother subject, so won't go too into it, but it's a lot more stillness and more meditative. And then you'll probably see, you might see an Ashtanga class. So Ashtanga is that same structure. It's the same practice over and over. It is the original asana, is Ashtanga. So it's typically very traditional. And yeah, so, but it is a powerful practice. But it's also very good for beginners because you're not moving quick to one pose to the other, to the other, to the other. So it really gives you a chance to get into the pose, align yourself properly, feel that posture, so that, you know, you can kind of keep moving through it. So it is a powerful practice, but it's also really good for beginners. Not that that's you are, but that's what it is. And then you will see that, like maybe the hot class, whatever they call it in their thing. And that also is a continuous practice. Yeah, it's done a little bit differently with a whole different theory in mind, but a lot of the poses are similar, but you still have that time to be in it. So it's not a quick moving flow class, if you will. And then, am I missing any other like typical studio classes? No, that's about, yeah, I think that's about what you'll see. But yeah, like Alona said, like the styles of yoga, I think what Westerners call is a lot of marketing, if you will, if I could just say that. I feel like I keep double thinking like how we're posting this. I told you guys we're all posting this live, and then I'm like, I'm going to get some heat for some of this stuff. Maybe not. But I really think that it's marketing, right? Yoga for runners, yoga for this, yoga for that, yoga for that. It's just a way to capture your attention and draw the class towards you. But at the end of the day, breath, movement, do you want to hold the posture or do you want to flow through it? That would be the biggest answers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming, beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh
Cool.
my God, so fun. Does anybody else have anything? I think we've got a few minutes left. Maybe like one more quick question, or Alona, Danny, anything you want to add for the next few minutes?
So how about if we don't have questions, how about we say what namaste means to each of us?
Yeah, go for it. What is namaste?
Oh, so what is namaste? It's definitely what's in you. But whenever we say namaste, it's the biggest honor to give another person. It means that I recognize the divine in you. I recognize the light in me is the light in you. The light in me, in you is the light in me. The teacher is me in me, the teacher in you. The student in you is the teacher in me. So for me, it's the biggest honorable greeting, and I will always have the biggest respect for namaste. So namaste, yogis.
Beautiful, namaste. Danny, what you got?
So namaste was, I loved learning the definition and kind of understanding this word. And I started to fall in love with everybody and every plant, every animal, everything to me had namaste in it. And it's like the light in, like Alona said, the light in me sees and recognizes and honors the light in you and in all things. So when I started to understand that, like I had this deep respect for everything, plants, animals, people, everything to me, I could see the light in. And so when I say namaste to people coming or going, it's a greeting, so it can go both ways. It's a huge honor. And it's like when you start to see the light in people's eyes, like when I meet people, I look at them in their eyes and I recognize the namaste, and you sit there and you marinate in it. And it's just such a beautiful word and meaning. And I think it unifies and draws everything together. Like, yeah, it's just, it was a big, huge lesson for me. And it was really life-changing.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. I love it. I don't know what else to say to that. I mean, yeah. Namaste is super powerful, right? I guess like it kind of equals the playing field, you know, but not only with each other, because I think for me, in my biggest lesson of it was that in our society where we kind of are taught to turn against each other and that little bit of competition and then, you know, that's not actually where I was going. We're actually taught to love outward, not turn against each other, but to love outward. And not the competition, but more like just support, like I see you, I support you, we're always giving, but we forget about ourselves. And to me, namaste, it really equals everything. It equals the playing field in that, yeah, I can give to you, but this is an equal energy exchange as well. And I see the light in me. And that was kind of my biggest thing, was like, oh, I have a light in me. Like, I know you do, I can bring it out, right? But for me, that was, and not in a selfish way, but in a way that I can fill my own cup so that I can keep giving and feeling, because yoga has a lot of energy. There's a lot of energy. Even on the Zoom thing, you can kind of feel the energy exchange. And, it does get hard after a while. So just that whole namaste, like the light in me sees and honors the light in you. And that's, I don't know, that's kind of my biggest thing. It's just like, yes, I am, I'm here to guide you, but the fact that you're also lighting my way with your own light and guiding me as well. And that's, I don't know, that's quite, I shouldn't have said anything because it just got all jumbled up.
No, that was beautiful.
I would just add that the most beautiful thing is with namaste is that you're giving an honor above the physical realm, if I did pronounce it right. So it's beyond our bodies, it's beyond our egos, it's beyond our physical posture, our perfections and imperfections. It's that light, that divine, that essence, the spirit. It's the greeting of the spirit. It doesn't matter who we are, where we are from, how we look. It's beyond that. So that's the most beautiful part of
Greeting of the
namaste.
spirit. Oh my God, that's just beautiful. Are you kidding me?
See, now,
I love that.
Had you told me that 4 years ago, I would have been like, no, it's good. I'm not going to stay. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how it was for me, is I was like, no, man, like, I'm good. I'm going to go do my thing. I'm going to go for my run. Like, I'm good. That was a very big, uncomfortable spot for me. And
that's why you needed Ganesha to remove it.
Well, yeah, he stomped on it a couple of times, but he's still stomping. He's still stomping. It's not done yet. And I think that's why I took it the way that I did, because you can't grow unless you know from within, So, yeah.
I broke down the word one time for my yoga class. It was actually a theme. And na means I, mas means bow, and te means you. I bow to you. Namaste. So isn't that beautiful? So when you say it, it actually means I bow to you. So sometimes when people say it, they don't actually have to do the gesture. We just do that. But I think in India, they just say it. But namaste can also be said like this.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even have to be I love that freaking word so much. Just works me up. Whoa.
I love it. Cool. Does anyone else have anything else?
I have one last thing.
Yeah.
Growing up, I grew up Christian in the Christian church, and it yoga was not like something you did. And I told Danny this. I don't know if I told you this, Janet, but I was wearing my mala in Walmart one time, and a guy who was like Christian and he was trying to save me, and he told me that I was going to hell for doing yoga. And it's just really not, it's pretty frowned upon, I guess. And I just want to know your guys' opinion on why it is, and maybe the way I see it is the only, they're just trying to keep you from really connecting to the truth.
Yes.
And your spirituality and your connection to God, however you do that. Or what's your opinion on that? Because I just had that experience with Christianity being like that. I don't know how other religions are, but why do they not like it?
Yeah, so I had that very similar experience. In fact, I have a little story. If you have to go, then like time-wise, don't stress. But so I had a very similar experience where I was living in South Africa. Just on the other side of the hill was very, 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 very traditional. And when I went to teach a class, surprisingly that there was even a yoga studio, but it was Pilates and yoga. So it kind of like slid under the radar. They told me that we don't say namaste. We don't, hands are not at prayer. This is purely a workout form of yoga. Like nothing funky. Don't say anything that could be controversial. And, you know, like at the time I really needed the jab. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. Like I didn't agree with it, but I was like, oh, whatever. So over time, like I met a couple of people. Zoe actually is in the same space for those of you who know Zoe or have met Zoe or have taken one of her classes. She also teaches with us, but still in South Africa. So she's fast asleep at the moment. Or just getting ready to wake up. But anyway, so she created a little studio and we did our own thing through that because she was also like, listen, this is yoga. It's not religious, right? They don't exist on the same playing field. It's apples to oranges. And so we started doing yoga in like her little space that she created. And it was funny enough, it was in a church because we just needed a floor space and we could afford it. So that's what we did. And over time, I kind of developed some, you know, relationships with some of the students that were coming. And one before I left had made me this bracelet that is wooden beads and it's got the chakras and the little hand and all of that. And I thought it was the sweetest gesture ever. She's like, I'm really going to miss you. And you taught me a lot. And she was really enjoying it. And then about a month after I left, Zoe told me that the lady had canceled her yoga because her husband said either Jesus or yoga. And she had to choose. So basically yoga and being divorced. Or go back to, right? Go back to, that's not, I didn't say that. Whatever, not my story. It's fine. Anyways, sorry that slipped. So for me, and I get that where I'm at here is very, very, very traditional, and I get that a lot. My biggest thing is they don't belong together, right? Yoga is an internal practice. It's getting to know who you are. It's relying on your own heart, your own drive, your own self to be in your space. And the other side of that is asking for is asking for, you know, forgiveness rather than forgiving yourself. It's an external thing. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I really just don't think that they belong together. And I feel like anybody who feels otherwise just doesn't fully understand what it is and even the physical benefits, right? Everything else aside, how healthy and cleansing it is for your body on top of everything else. So I don't know if that answered anything or if I just like, if that just hit a something for me, but gosh, that's one thing that I actually battle daily. And I really don't see how they are connected and or related on a personal note. And that's my personal view about it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. That did help because I feel where I live is very conservative, and even like the healthy people don't really do yoga. And it's kind of like if you do yoga, you're probably not from here, or you know, it's very like you don't really do that. So I've run into that like quite a bit where people just kind of think I'm like, you know, like a tree hugger if I do yoga, even though it really, like you said, everything else aside, like there's so many benefits to it. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is very hard to be in a space that's not fully accepted. And it's kind of, when I was talking to Danny, when I first moved to where I'm at now, I kept saying like, I just can't find my tribe. I can't find my studio. The closest studio to me meditate, like they have yoga nidra. That's what you might see in another. Yoga nidra is a yogic sleep. But anyways, they have meditation for getting closer to Jesus. And I'm like, I don't understand how you can put the two together. And that's the closest studio I have. So it just doesn't, it's a hard place to be when you see things differently, and, you know, right or wrong, but whatever is in your heart is in your heart. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate that you're here, because that means a lot to me, because that's kind of why this went the way it did. And thanks, Danny, for the push on that.
Yeah, dude.
So
I would just like to add, you know, that comes from simply lack of knowledge and ignorancy, that people attach some fake information into it. Yoga is not a religion, and yoga is a practice, and yoga will bring you closer to whatever you are looking for. So there is only one thing, and we can call it God, we can call it Jesus, we can call it Allah. In Polish, it's Bóg. You know, it doesn't matter how you call it. It's one thing. And everybody sings different songs, everybody speaks different languages, but at the end of the day, it's one thing. And you know, I like to say to Christians that, well, actually, you can be really good Buddhist, you can be really good yogi, and be a Christian, be a perfect Christian, the Christian how should be, because you understand the essence. You go inside instead of outside. And what I like to say is that Jesus was one of the greatest yogis we had. And actually, Hindu the scriptures, they talk about Jesus. They talk about a great yogi who was a traveler, who was a master in yoga. You know, the walking on water. That's what yogis in India do. The healing and all of that beautiful transformations of water to wine, etc. This is what master yogis in India they do. So I think you as a yogi don't mind, you know, just have compassion towards them, that they didn't get to that understanding of spirituality on that deeper level. But your job at this moment as a yogi is to give them that love and compassion, and don't get that bad energy. Sometimes it's better just to smile and say nothing, because, you know, the energy is, you have to always be translucent, and you always have to be yourself. You cannot take other energy and keep it, right? You just have to, if you have a good line, if you think like, oh, it's gonna sound good, but it's always keep it peaceful, as peaceful as possible, because you don't want to get anybody into that, how do you say it, food for thought. You never want to do that. This is not ending story. So, but yes, it's definitely whatever you are with yoga, it's simply you're going to get better at it. You're going to get closer to whatever you are looking for. And what name you will give it, it doesn't matter. In every single culture, in every different time, the names changes, the vibrations, colors, pictures, stories, they change, but the essence is one, and always will be one.
I love that.
Thank you.
I should have let you answer from the beginning. That was much better than mine.
No, yours is good too, Janet.
Goodness.
There's no right answers. We all speak about the same thing. That's the thing. We all speak in our own languages, in our own experience, but we speak, we all are going to one truth, one light, one universe.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a quick thing to add. So I think people get triggered about the Jesus stuff, about like, you know, like going to church versus yoga. Like I don't know that there needs to be a versus or whatever, but I find that people get triggered because it's their egos. Like people get really wrapped up and identified with their faith and where they go to church, and like it becomes them. But sometimes what they're doing in the churches is they put their validation and their God out there. They put it in a statue. They put it in somebody up in the clouds watching you, which that may be very true also, but they're missing the point where that the God is also within each and every one of us. And I think that they get really triggered when we think that we are God. Well, if we're children of God, wouldn't we have the same genetic makeup or whatever you want to call it? Like, wouldn't we have a piece of that in us? And I think when we put the power in here versus out there, I think that people don't know what to do with that. Like that somehow doesn't, because they're so identified with the guy in the clouds or whatever. And it's both, and it's the God out there and it's the God in here. And yeah, so that's my little piece of God. But I love how, and Alona and I have talked about this before, like it's all one, like there are maybe all different paths to enlightenment or to being saved or whatever you want to call it. But I think that, and there might be all different guides, but we're all going to the same place, and our egos get caught in the middle with how we get there. The point is not how we get there. The point is that we get there. And I think churches and the separation and those things, you know, just like people like going, like, you know, there's a bunch of separation between like, even like, I don't know the right religions, but there's all different books and things. And I think our egos get in the way of seeing that we're all going for the same thing. We just get there a different way.
Yeah.
And as a yogi, you understand unity, you understand the connection and oneness, and you understand everything is namaste, not just one thing that you want to put all of your power in. It's in everything. And I think when you understand that, you understand that we're all going to the same light, to the same place.
The label doesn't matter. The quality of you matters. The quality of us matters. So doesn't matter how we call ourselves, as long as you are a good person, that's it. That is my namaste to you, because it doesn't matter what, like I said, what songs you sing, what language you speak, as long as I see that light and love and understanding and trying to be better, trying to every single time make a right decision, even in your bad, if you are trying, that's enough. So that's it. It doesn't matter that the religion, the label, the naming, it means nothing. It's just a sound. It's just a culture at this very moment. The most important part is, are you a good person? That's as short as simple as that.
Yeah, awesome.
I love that. I love all of those answers.
Thank you so much.
Well, I love all of you for being here and for still being here, because we could literally probably do this for the next 48, 36, I don't know, really long time. We could just keep going and going. Yeah, did you have one more thing, Angelica?
No. I was ready to say thank you.
Yes, thank you all. Thank you for being here. I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful evening. If anything comes up between now and next Friday, feel free to pop it in any chat. We'll do the best we can to answer it. If it's a really good one, we might save it, or maybe we'll pull it into next Friday. So feel free, if you can't always join, or you're afraid it might go too long, which it very well could, you can always just do that as well. But thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and making this such an amazing and awesome evening. And namaste.
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 Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Oh,
To all of us. Let that energy of whatever is blocking, our energy is blocking what we are aiming for. Let the energy of Ganesha, the energy of that universe, let's open the doors for us. And namaste.
Namaste. Bye, lovelies. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.